Some things have changed. I was able to get my garage cleaned out, and we now have it up on jack stands. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who have been watching through, we are going to do some more work to the Bel Air. For those of you who are new to the channel, this is my 54 Bel Air. A four-door car. It sat for about, I want to say about 42 to 43 years it's been sitting. I don't know where it was sitting, but a little bit of interior damage there. Not terrible overall. If you go back and watch the first video, we have gotten this engine to run, but it did have some serious rocker arm noise. It's not getting proper oil feeding through there. So I am going to take that off today, and I'll get that valve cover off. We'll take the rocker arms off and see what we can't do to get this working again like it's supposed to. It is covered in oil everywhere, but as they always say, if there's oil on it or under it, there's oil in it. So I will get set up here and we will start working on this again. Now, it has been a little bit since I've had a chance to get out here and work on this, but figured right now kids are in bed, wife is in bed, we're gonna do a little work. Either that or I'm gonna sit on my butt and play video games. So might as well be productive, right? For anybody who hasn't been here, I do have a lot of parts for this thing. I've rebuilt all of the ignition. We've got a lot of new brake parts to rebuild brakes, rebuilding the wheel cylinders. I've got one of them off, and I've got it soaking right now because one of the pistons is stuck. I need to get the master cylinder out, which I'll crawl under later and show you why that's going to be a pain in the butt. It is not in the greatest of locations, but I'm going to pull the master cylinder out at some point. We're going to get her rebuilt, or at least try to. It's cheaper than buying a new one by far. I have seen worse rocker arm assemblies on old engines. It's a little dirty, but back in the 50s, 60s, when these cars were running around, the oil they had wasn't as good as the oil we have today. So that's why you see old engines that are all gummed up like this. Now you probably won't be able to see them, but right here, there's a little hole that oil comes out. So the oil comes from back of the engine through a little metered orifice, comes through a tube, and then it comes up by this head bolt right here. Comes up this tube, goes through the rocker arm shaft, and then all the excess goes back down the tube and just drains back into the engine right here. I know I'm getting oil up there because I had oil coming out of that tube. I just have only, I think, two 2 or 3 of these rocker arms were actually showing any oil. All the rest of them were pretty much dry as a bone. So, got 1, 2, that's 6 bolts that hold this whole assembly on. I'm probably gonna, well, I think if I do it slow enough, I can take it off without messing with the adjustment. And I don't have to adjust them as bad when I go back together. I mean, I will still, readjust the valves. Let's see if I can get that light to stick up there. Maybe? Possibly? Okay. I have found out that this is not the original engine, too. This was I believe it's out of a 53. I'm not sure if it's 53 Bel Air or not, but it's out of a 53. I know that much. Hey, first guess. Where'd my ratchet go? Oh, the car being a foot off the ground is making it hard to reach the back now. Who knew? Now, for being a fairly simple engine, this is probably one of the, I don't want to say the more complicated rocker arm assemblies I've seen, but it's up there. Just because as I look at this more, you definitely got to watch when you're putting this back together. Because like this front rocker arm's kind of straight. The next one's kicked forward a little. The next one's kicked back. The next one's kind of straight again. All right, that's all the bolts loose. I don't want any of these push rods to come with. That would be a nightmare to try and line back up. Okay. And would you look at that? It is definitely a different setup. So the reason this master cylinder is not going to be coming out today is because, as you can see, it is tucked up on top of the frame rail. There's two lines coming off in the back, one bolt there, one bolt up on the other side over there. But then your clutch and brake pedal both pivot off the front of the master cylinder. There's the nut that drives the master cylinder. Follow that. Let's see if I can get. There's where the brake pedal and clutch pedal are bolted in. I am currently not sure if that pin can come out right there, let alone if I can get it out while it's under here, or if I'm going to have to unbolt these arms way up in there. And then, of course, you know, how do you get it out of this tiny hole? I'm not sure how they intended this to come apart. The last guy I saw take one out, he cut the floor out because he had to replace it anyways. I don't want to do that. So, I am going to reconvene on this at a later date. But, also while I was under here, transmission's leaking. Pretty good drip. I shouldn't say drip, but I guess I don't know how much is even in there anymore. So, probably gotta pull that off and put a new gasket in. Just fine. I may have to rebuild this transmission anyways. But otherwise, while we're under here, since it is not easy for me to get under here, it's a pretty solid car. Here, I'll shine my other light on there. Got coilovers in the rear, 70s modifications. Yeah. But frame is solid. Floor pans are really solid. I mean, yeah, there's, you know, surface rust right there, but that's nothing. I've seen newer cars with more rust on it than this. Exhaust is broken. At least it's after the muffler, so. But then, if anybody wondered what the backside of one of these looked like, double A-arm coil spring, and then it's got a kingpin on it. So it's a little bit of a different setup, that's for sure. Oil pan's leaking a little, looks like. Not surprising. But, I mean, overall, there's a lot of shit right there, though. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's not in bad shape down here. Which is good, because I don't want to do a whole lot of repair work under here if I don't have to. Alright, so I have made a discovery that this is a two-piece shaft. I know some people who have worked on these before would probably know that, but that just sits in between there. Like so. it is definitely an interesting setup. So I will get to tearing this all apart and we will see what we see inside. Alright, so first things first, we're going to do one side at a time. Aha, that's where you went. There's this little washer. I say little, but or spacer, stopper, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's on either side of that tube, and I don't want to lose them. I can see we got oil in here at least. And I know, partially just by looking at them and how wet they are, believe, I'm pretty sure it was the front one, this one, and maybe one of those that actually was getting oil into it. I might see if I can get either a small stone hone or something before this actually goes back together and just kind of lightly touch this. Like I can see some spots where it's obviously not been wearing on the shaft, mostly at the top. Let me try and see. No real play, so that's a good sign. Try and keep these in the order that they go in. Let's see. Come on. Okay. And everything is under spring tension, so once the bolts come out, this thing flies apart. Not bad, but this one I kind of, I don't know if I'll be able to show it on the camera or not. Kind of. Two grooves in there. One on either side. But yeah, you can see on this one, you can see where all the wear happens and where it's not. But it's not significant wear. I mean, there's no real slop in any of this. I don't know, so far I was expecting to see all these holes plugged up, and I'm not. A little bit of stuff in them, but oh, I wonder if it's that hole that's plugged. So on the bottom of this shaft, there's a hole. Oil goes in the shaft, comes out that hole, goes around inside of here in the rocker arm, and then comes out the top hole and runs down the back and the front. Put a little oil on the valve stem and oil on the push rod. And I have a feeling it's shaft. It's got all the gunk in it. Well, maybe not. Okay, so why am I having an oiling issue? Either way, we will clean it all up. Clean it up and hope for the best, I guess. And if anybody wonders why I'm wearing a sweatshirt in May, apparently Iowa decided to go from 90 degrees last weekend. Well, not last weekend. This whole last week. It's been 90 degrees Monday, Wednesday, or Monday through Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday it decided to rain. The wind decided to blow like a mother. I think we were seeing 40 and 50 mile an hour winds. And then now it's, 50 degrees outside again. Thank you, Mother Nature. I did not plan for enough room here. Off there. Also looking at the tips of these rocker arms, trying to see how much you can see that wear pattern from the valve stem. I can just barely catch my nail on it, so at least on that one. It's not bad. If I was rebuilding this engine, I would probably replace all this. Just for peace of mind. But since I'm not going for rebuild, I'm not going for show quality, I'm just making a driver out of this car. And you can see it a lot more on that one because I haven't cleaned the tip off yet, but just slightly. I don't know how many miles this engine has on it. I mean, the odometer says 53,000, I believe. The being that the engine is from 53 and not 54. Although granted, I don't know with how they did it back then, if it's like how they do now where they reuse some parts from one year to the next. Because if this was a late 54 engine, or late 53 engine and early 54 car, this could still be the original engine. It is kind of hard to say how all that went. That wasn't wanting to come off, and then it came off. Go figure. Oh gosh. A little bit of discoloration on the end of these threads too. Not sure if that's... Oh, that looks like anti-seize. I think I did read somewhere that you are supposed to anti-seize those bolts when putting it together. Alright. Last one on this front half. I mean, overall, doesn't look bad. I'm not seeing any clear signs as to why I'm having an oil pressure issue, but drop that spring off too. Don't really feel, well, I can feel a slight, and I mean slight, amount of wear on the shaft. But, so, this is the top side. This is the bottom side. So, oil comes in the end, out there, goes all the way around the tube, and out the top. I mean, I have to say, it's an interesting design. I don't know what I expect for 1950s. That is slightly concerning right here. Can't tell if that's wear on the shaft, or maybe the plating just came off. I mean, that's right where that last stand goes and the bolt goes through, so I'm not sure. Because the shaft's not turning, that stand's not turning. I don't know why that would be there. I mean, I can kind of see. Might be just enough slop in the holes that the shaft moves a little bit. Yeah. I bet that shaft's got a little bit of free play. Yeah, that's anti-seize on the end of that bolt. Now, whether that's factory anti-seize or somebody's had this apart once before, I don't know. But that's one side apart. I'll probably take that side apart later. It's already starting to get a little late for me. And yeah, I'll get this all. I'll do another video putting this all back in the car and probably not firing it up yet, but oh, I did. I'll show you guys this real quick. So I had said in the last video I was going to buy rebuild kits or a rebuild kit for the generator that I took apart. I think it was the last video. Last one or the one before. Either way. But, and searching online, I found the stuff I need. The bearings, the brushes, all of that. And I even found a new armature in case this one was bad. But either way, the bearings and brushes were going to cost me, about 70, I'll say about 70 bucks. And I found this rebuilt for $100 with no core charge. So this one's been gone through already. This one's a little different because it's got this band comes off the back and then you can change the brushes that way. But I pulled it off, kind of looked inside, and it's got more wear on the armature than mine did. But it's also a lot cleaner just because, I mean, one, it's rebuilt, two, it hasn't been sitting for 40 some years. So yeah, we got that. I will get that on at some point. I did buy a new voltage regulator too because it was cheap, and I believe I'll take that out too. Actually, I gotta take the license plate bracket off. I keep catching it with my leg. I believe, judging by the box, it is definitely old. But I don't know how old it is. But yeah, it's got all the original stickers are on it. That is one thing you had to do with most of these, was you have to polarize them. So you got to touch these two terminals together before you start the car, because otherwise you could charge backwards. But I guess this isn't actually in the original box, I'm guessing, because this says P&D manufacturing on it. Got P&D on this side too, and the box is Borg Warner. But either way, I mean, nonetheless, kind of cool to be able to find all this old stuff for 6-volt yet. So on that note, we will call this the end. And you can kind of see, give you a look in here while this is off. It's got some buildup, but not terrible. I have seen much worse engines on much newer vehicles. So, but thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll finish up that wheel at some point, and the rest of them. I still haven't got the rear drums off. That's fighting me, to say the least. And yeah, in case you didn't see it, this one's actually the wife's bike. That's an 03 Honda Shadow. Mine is an 06 Harley Night Train that has had a little bit of work done to it. But we will get this going eventually here. So yeah, thank you for watching, everybody, and we will see you in the next one.